Hi there, it's Craig here. Well, let's talk about it. UFOs. Big topic these days. UFOs have been, talked about for many years, and they've been mocked and joked about, and they've been in cartoons and comic books, and then you've got all your UFO sightings, which some people think are just crazy people hallucinating and so forth. I personally believe very, very strongly that there's more than just life on this planet. There's life elsewhere in the universe, and that's just my opinion. It doesn't make sense to me that there would be this almost seemingly endless universe, and we're the only living creatures. What's the rest of it for? And we can't even see all of it, so it's not even for us. So I think that life is just what happens. I think that life is part of the universe, and I could go into that whole thing, but that's another topic. Let's suffice to say that with all the thinking and research that I've done, I am betting, and I would bet my life, that there is life on other planets in the universe, period. Okay? So with that out of the way, it's not really hard for me to believe that there's life that could travel around the universe, or at least around the galaxy anyway. This topic is really old, and I don't want to sit and talk about it and try and convince you that there's UFOs, but what there is a big breakout on the internet of something having to do with Obama disclosing UFO presence. In other words, there's a UFO disclosure movement, and it's not just on people talking into microphones and on camera like me. It's all over. It's on the mainstream media and everything. That Obama is supposedly going to break open the whole UFO alien story and unlock all the files that have been hidden away for all these years. And you know what? This is something that's not going away. It's been around. This topic has been around for decades. I mean, since God, before I was born, even there was talk about this stuff. And they tried to fluff it off by putting in comic books and putting it on TV with the Jetsons and all these cartoons where it had flying saucers and all these cool little, innovative space age things that we thought we'd never end up with. I think that's part of the cover-up. So anyway, if you go online and you look up, UFO disclosure, you're going to see all kinds of information. Don't do it yet. I've got things to say. And then you can go and do it, because I think there's some issues about this that need to be thought about. So I've been kind of excited about this, because apparently, if it's true, it's supposed to happen very soon, within the next few months. Now, this is not what I would call a conspiracy theory. Okay, this is something that if you look it up, you'll see that it's very talked about on a lot of supposedly credible broadcasts, channels, websites, what have you. So it's out there. Part of me is a bit excited, and part of me is maybe a little worried. And I'll tell you why. There's several ways of looking at this. For one thing, okay. I mean, if we finally discover as humans that there's alien, that there's other life forms out in the universe, we've been looking for this, we've been looking for all kinds of things, and NASA's, I really don't know, because there's all these camps that they've got these, like SETI has these radio telescopes that are focused on the heavens and are looking for, little blips and little signs of life on other planets, and they haven't found anything yet. And and then you've got this whole topic about UFO disclosure and Obama, and I really don't. you know, I'm not God. I can't figure this stuff. I don't know everything. So, but I've been a little bit excited about it because I've heard the UFO disclosure story in a lot of different areas, and it's very quick to surface. It could just be, you know, a big diversion. I don't know, but in any case, I've been feeling a little bit excited about it just from the research that I've done, because I actually believe that this is going to happen, that there will be a disclosure, that there will be unlocked files and documents that were previously classified, and that we're going to be shocked as a species to find out that yes, all these UFO sightings that people have reported, millions of them, are true. We have been visited by extraterrestrial beings. And who knows what they're up to. I believe that they're not hostile. I believe that they're here to help. I believe that right now the planet is in rough shape. We are in rough shape. You know, we've got the economy the way it is, the swine flu thing going around, whatever that's all about. And, you know, I just believe that things, you know, are this way because somebody wants it this way for a reason. And I'll get into that in a minute. It's called problem reaction solution. Now, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist kind of person. I did get into some conspiracy theorist stuff a while back, and I've tried to step back from it because there's a lot of, yeah, you can really get yourself wound up in that stuff, and it's not a really nice way to live, to think that, you know, we're doomed or whatever. It is a nice thing to think that there are some other entities out there that could recognize that our species is in trouble, our society's in trouble, and that they may have something to offer. So that's what I've been excited about, you know. But that's not the only way to look at this. I mean, there's different ways of looking at it. You know, there's that, which means that, you know, we might have these things coming down, like on Star Trek, that you know, Captain Picard is going to go down and help these people rebuild their thing and get everything right, you know. But there's another side to it too, which is disturbing, and it could very well be just as much of the truth as you know, the good side. And, you know, in order to understand this, you have to know a little bit about somewhat how things work in this world, and there's a lot of big corporations running things, and there's a lot of money to be made, and there's a lot of greed out there. And so as a result of that, there's some things that go on that aren't, I don't think are good for society. They're just good for the people who make the money from it. So again, I don't want to get into a doom and gloom scenario here, because I'm not a doom and gloom guy, at least not anymore. And but I just want to make you aware that there is a method out there called problem reaction solution, and I've used it myself. You know, I've used it in my own life. You know, you want somebody to do something, but you know they won't do it, so you create a problem, a situation where it makes them want to do it. For example, my son, he has his Xbox and everything down here in the basement, and I'm finding it really cramped down here. It's, you know, I haven't got enough room to do what I want to do. He's got a bedroom upstairs that's like never used, right? He's never there. So I'm saying, hey, get upstairs, take your Xbox and your TV up there. He's like, no, I don't want to. I like it in the basement. Well, so what I've done, and I hope he doesn't watch this video because he'll figure out my trick, as I've started cluttering a little bit and putting things in the way of his Xbox and his TV, and moving his chair and put some boxes there. And yeah, so when he gets up in the morning, he goes to play his Xbox, he has to move stuff around, and, you know, and finally it worked. He says, Dad, when, you know, I think I should really move up to my room. You've got too much stuff down here. It's too crowded. I can't. So it worked. It's a problem reaction solution scenario. All right? And this has happened and does happen in society. I'm sure that the governments or the powers that be have created certain circumstances in society in order to get us to abide by what they want to implement. And one of the things that comes to my mind is, I hate to get on this topic, but there is some information about there, actually a lot of information out there about something called an RFID chip. It does exist. In fact, I have one in my bank card. It's a little microchip that stores your information, your bank information. So instead of swiping your card through a machine, you just insert your card and it reads off of this little chip, right? And you enter your passcode and all that stuff, and it communicates with this little chip. And then when you're finished your transaction, you pull your card out, you put it back in your wallet, you take your stuff. Well, here's the problem with that. Ever since it's been implemented, I have lost 2 bank cards because I leave the bank cards in the machine. And how many of you have done this? You forget to take your bank card out of the damn machine. You go home and you I've lost 2 bank cards. And one of the bank cards I lost, I actually got back. I went to the store where I lost it, and she opened a drawer, and she said, "What's your name, Mr. Fairway?" "Okay, yeah." And there was like 50 bank cards in there people had lost that day. So this is what's going on, is that they've got these chips in here, but you're losing this card. The card is becoming a pain in the ass because you lose it, and maybe we'll get used to it, but the solution to that is, why don't we just somehow put this microchip, this little RFID chip, on our body or in our body, right? So that we can never lose it anymore. It's part of us. We need it. We carry it around every day anyway. Why not just make it like a wristwatch? It's on our body. And in fact, why don't we just put it right inside our hand or our neck or wherever it's convenient, and so that we never have to worry about it again, right? And that's a solution to the problem, and that has been talked about on television even. It's something that I think you are going to see a push for in the future. And I don't think it's going to be a very popular decision. Who knows what kind of control somebody could have over you if there's an electronic device installed in your body, right? And that's what people are thinking. So they're like, I'm not getting that. But what if you create a problem? And you say, well, you lose this bank card all the time, and this credit card because you forget to take it out of the machine. The solution to that is, and the reaction to that is, we hate these things. It's this terrible idea. Solution? Put it right in your body. Oh, and all of a sudden it sounds attractive, It's just like, yeah, this is cool. So that's problem, reaction, solution. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's just an example of stuff I've heard, and I don't really know, but it is out there if you want to look that up too. It's RFID chip if you want to look that up. Just wait till the end of my video, okay? So anyway, so that's how problem, reaction, solution works. So some part of me wonders if maybe there's something the government wants to do, but they don't think that the public is going to respond very well. And there are 6 billion of us, so it's, it wouldn't be a good thing if we all objected to it. Maybe there's a way they can create a problem so that we'll react and go, hey, we want a solution to this, and then they come up with a solution. Now, this is only an idea. I'm not saying this is going to happen. It's just part of the thinking that it's going on in my head with this whole UFO disclosure thing. And I got to look at both sides. I can't just put all my eggs in one basket and sing and dance and go, it's victory, because you never know. This could go both ways. So the problem I see here is that I think there is alien life visiting our planet. I think there has been for many, many years. That's my own opinion. And I think it's been covered up. Whether that's going to affect us as a society at this point, I don't know. But wouldn't it be a good time for the government or the powers that be to unleash this information to the public, causing a huge outbreak of, whatever, panic or song or, I don't know what it would do, which would create a reaction. That's the reaction that would create. And then there'd be a solution. what would be the solution to that? How could we all deal with this phenomenon that we've all learned about just all at once, just like that? Well, one way we could deal with it is to band together as a nation, as a world, right? No more separate nations anymore, or separate countries, or, you know, governments or whatever. If we've got these aliens looking down upon us and, you know, proposing to do whatever it is they're going to do, we need to be one. We need to be one, all together. We need to work together. We need to come together as one species, all of us, everywhere, all over the world. And what does that mean? That means that there'd have to be one country, one world, one government, and so that we could represent ourselves as we, the people, we, the human race, and you, the aliens, who are going to do whatever you're going to do, whether you're going to help us or wipe us out, whatever, okay? And so that's the natural reaction that you would have, I think, is that, you know, hey, there's this big thing happening, and we need to come, even if it was like a catastrophe, like an asteroid hit the Earth, and it sent, you know, we lost all of our crops, and, you know, we had a huge catastrophe. We would have to come together as a world and say, hey, we the humans, we the people, need to band together and survive and help each other, right? So, you know, part of the, you know, me thinks that if they do disclose this information about UFOs, you know, and so forth, the suspicious part of me says, what do they want? You know, what do they want from us? Is there something they want? And I have heard many, many, many times about a one world government. For a couple of years now, I've been finding this information. In a one world government, if you look it up, I mean, just look it up. I mean, again, you know, write this stuff down and wait till the end of my babble here and go and look this stuff up. One world government, there's a term, it says, there's one term that you can look up called New World Order. A big thing on the internet about this stuff. Don't get yourself too wrapped up and scared about it. There is a lot of fear-mongering out there. The premise of it is that there's a push to conglomerate all the governments of the world and all the banks in the world and all the currency into one thing, so that we all are one. We have one currency, one government, one planet as a whole. And, you know, if you mentioned this to somebody on the street, they'd say, geez, I think that's a pretty good idea. There'd be no more wars, there'd be no more fighting. It would be all of us all together, you know, making the same decisions, doing the same things, having the same kind of money, and it would clean up the planet, you know, clean up the society, right? So at first glance it looks, hey, why not, right? Why not consolidate everything into one so that we can, you know, what do you do when you've got all these debts all over the place? What do? You consolidate them into one debt so you can easily pay it off. It's smoother and it works, right? The problem with this is that when you've got one entity, one organization running the show, then there's no room for competition. There's no room for discussion. It's like, so if you've got one cell phone company, just one, we've got all these cell phone companies competing, and this one lowers their price, and that one says, oh, we gotta lower our price too, and then there's competition, features, and prices and things. So you've got this competition that really caters to the user, because we get the benefit from it, because we get the lower prices, we get better features, we get better phones. Look at Apple. They released the iPhone. What happens? All the other cell phone makers go, holy shit, we've got to get on the bandwagon. They all released, iPhone-like phones, and some of them are very good. So, of course, Apple's going to have to now come back and up up it one more step, and it's good because we all get better phones and better services. So competition is good. You really don't want a monopoly, you know, in any area, whether it's cell phones or, you know, internet providers or whatever. There's you know, there's been monopolies out there with cable companies and things like that. You don't want that, because if you have choice, you can tell your cell phone provider, I don't like you anymore, I'm going over here, and they're going to do whatever they can to keep you, and there's just a competition. It's a good thing. Well, if you don't have competition, you have a monopoly. And a monopoly can be bad because there's no need to improve. There's no need to answer to anybody. If you don't like it, you know where the door is. Bye. You don't have a cell phone. You don't have an internet provider. You don't, you know, whatever. And so if there's a one world government, supposing that's, you know, what's being talked about, and if it ever did happen, if you have a one world government, then if you don't like what they decide, there's the door. And where's the door? You just don't get to, you don't have anything. You don't have any health care. You don't have any financial, you know, bank cards and credit cards or anything. You don't have a job. You don't have a social insurance or security number. I mean, what you know, if you don't like it, there's the door. Go live out in the sticks. So that's the other side of it, of the whole coming together thing. It could be a good, or it could be used in a negative way like that. And so, I don't know, it's complicated, and I don't get myself too uptight about it usually, but if there was to be a UFO disclosure, that could very well be, it could be a good thing. It could be a revolution in technology, and it could mean that we could fix some of the problems we've got down here on Earth with energy and things. Because you know, I'm sure they've got better technology than we do. If they're flying around in these wonderful spacecrafts, you know. On the other hand, it could mean disaster, because the government and then people who are running the place would say, we need to come together as a nation. And that's the two sides that I ponder when I think about this. And coming together as a planet, you know, like I said, it could possibly be, depending on how it's implemented and what the reasons for it is, you see. It could be a good thing if it's treated properly, but it could be a bad thing if it's not. If it's used, you know, in the wrong way. And so that's my whole take on the whole UFO disclosure thing. At any rate, it's an exciting time if this does happen. It's very exciting, and believe me, if we find out there's really, if it's on the news, man, that there's UFOs out there, it's going to make life. We're not going to talk about the weather anymore. Let's put it that way. It's definitely going to give us something to talk about, other than the swine flu, and so, you know. But on the other hand, you know, we need to, you know, there's going to be a handful of people out there that are going to be like, have their antennae up, going, hey, wait a minute, let's watch and see what happens, because this could be a ploy, it could be a plan to get what they want, which is that one world government that I've heard about. So I don't know, it's just all talk. I mean, I stay kind of, you know, I used to get into this stuff really deep, and I'd read something or watch something and get all upset. Oh my God, there's going to be this is happening, this is what they're doing, whatever. I don't anymore, because you know what? It's just, it's interesting. It's the way life is. That's what we've got. You know, it's just not like you can leave unless you want to hop on one of those UFOs that are they're supposedly floating around. But you know, it just, you know, lightly research the stuff, check it out, come back and comment, tell me what you think. Okay, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I'm just waiting, and I'm telling you, I've heard, and now we're going to wait and see what happens. I've heard, like, within a week of this posting of this video, there's supposed to be a disclosure. It probably won't be that close. It probably might be into spring of next year. And if it doesn't happen by then, then I'm pulling all the plugs. I'm not listening to any more of this crap. You hear all this stuff all the time on the internet. Nothing ever happens. Y2K never happened. It's just like, just don't forget to live your life and enjoy yourself. And it's interesting, but, you know, grain of salt, right? Grain of salt. Anyway, that's my take, guys. UFOs, hey, what do you think? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.